Hi everyone, we're very excited to be here today. We're from Germany, from Salzhausen.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Bonjour à tous.
Panie I panowie.
With this Polish accent, we welcome you from Krakow.
Hello everybody, hello Europe. My name is Bianca Chiar and I am the leader of the group from the Mircea Scarlat Pedagogical High School from Alexandria, the county of Teleorman from Romania.
Le sud-ouest de l'Angleterre est renommé pour le tourisme.
Southwest of England is known for its coasts and Agatha Christie. It's also the sunniest of the regions of England. So you can see that helps our disposition.
It is a great honor to meet so many intelligent and radiant young people.
We believe that new generations are the fundamental key to improve our social conditions and face those problems that some politicians seem to have underestimated or deliberately avoided in the past. So, even if we come from the tip of Italy and Europe, literally, we are not just a forsaken land offering only good food, beautiful sea, or fascinating sunsets. We want to be a land of hopes, waiting for the day our own path will finally join everybody else's in Europe, to be able to change the world we live in together, really, as members of an European Union.
Što će biti s nama sutra, da li to netko zna? Što će biti s nama poslije, da li to netko zna?
We firmly believe it is a duty of European youth to prevent our union from collapsing under the burden of financial and social conflict. So let's hope that the wind of active citizenship will blow once again. Thank you for your attention and good luck to all of us.
I wanted to ask, Europe faces a lot of problems like economical crisis, with nature, environmental problems, immigration, and sometimes I wonder, is there anyone or a council or something that helps to prioritize what is the most important? Because it's difficult to to work efficiently on many different problems, but to give more attention to certain problems that mostly Europeans are facing.
I wanted to ask, there are some countries which, as you said before, had done so many bad things to many countries, like Armenian genocide. But now they're in a progress of entering European Union, and European leaders are thinking about that. What is happening? The rights of the other countries, that the bad happens to them, doesn't matter.
In your opinion, do the advantages of the EU expansion overweigh the disadvantages, considering the current economical crisis and the cultural differences some people are pointing out? Thank you.
I know there's a lot of movement and traveling between the EU countries when the borders are getting more open every year. But what about the immigration from the rest of the world? How does the EU Parliament see other people coming into Europe? Is it a threat, or is it just is it a matter of non-importance?
I would like to know how would the transatlantic trade and investment partnership between the EU and the US affect our lives? And also what happens next in the negotiations, and why weren't they transparent from the very beginning?
I think the European Union needs to help Greece with the problem of migration that is creating so much havoc in the southern European countries. There are so many irregular migrants.
En 2015, seulement à l'île dans laquelle j'habite,
4,500 migrants entered Europe illegally in 2015 so far. So why isn't Europe doing more to help Greece?
On observe
Currently, we've seen that there's been an uptick in Euroscepticism in Europe and specifically in France. My question is, do you feel that in the European Parliament? And in your opinion, could that actually put Europe's future at risk?
I'd like to know how and to what extent do EU legislators consult with scientists during the drafting of legislation?
I want to know that why is it necessary for every country to individually accept a new country into the Schengen Treaty? Wouldn't it take a lot less time if all the countries just called their representatives and they got together and they made a decision?
I was told that European Union was founded to bring, after the Second War, to bring a peaceful environment with happy people. Nowadays we have a financial crisis and people are not happy. They're disappointed. And you see that they try to give solutions, but the solutions are not so good for many countries. So what's the point? Is it the point to strengthen the European Union and destroy the other countries? Do the powerful countries of the European Union care at an important percentage for the other countries? Because we are a union, we are together, and we have to face it together.
What does the European Union do to prevent stronger members from overwhelming weaker and smaller countries like mine on economic and cultural grounds? Thank you.
As a tie-in with the change in behaviour, the rewards for continuous operations, such as continuous production of energy, being biofuels, solar panels, wind farms, and people setting up these in their local areas could be rewarded. We found that government funding on recycling and no privatization of recycling firms is detrimental to people actually using these. We thought about getting offshore countries outside of the EU to produce energy, but we thought that it would be better to focus less on the economy and more on the environment. So we're really pushing to get less about money and more about really just pushing this development in the production of energy. We could also change some laws about the environment to really bring across a big change without having to swap funds from other places.
You said that you want to focus more on the environment and less on the money, but actually we're going through times of crisis, so don't you think that we should maintain all our actions to get out of this crisis?
We also voted on that, and we came to the conclusion that we want to find a balance between funding these things so we can have long-term development, but also keeping money in the side of things, because obviously there is a crisis and we have to keep our eye on that. But there's the problem of having to spend money to make money. You have to set off these long-term methods of development before they can actually come into action. So we were talking about finding an equilibrium between spending and also producing. We didn't come to a conclusion, I'm afraid, but we definitely think that experimenting between countries and seeing how they operate in terms of producing energy and spending money on energy development, you could find the most suitable difference between them.
We can say that EU has enough stable economy and therefore is responsible of the countries which economy is not so stable. It's human thing to help other countries, and we should not expect anything in return, even though today is commonly thought that we should help only to countries from which with development we have some benefit. Majority of people here thought money should be sent to non-government or non-profit organizations. Those organizations are already doing everything they can, and EU should support them so they can keep doing with the good work. By that way, giving money to the government is avoided, and that is important because of corruption, which keeps developing countries from developing properly. And of course, we could not avoid natural disasters. Our conclusion is, natural disasters should definitely have priority, because it's human life at stake, and it's not anybody's interest. We concluded that by helping other countries, EU helps itself, improving education will help non-EU countries to learn how to use money they receive more properly, and other improvements will soon follow. Soon enough, EU will have new trade partners and educated workers. In the end, we held a little voting, and the question was, should European Union increase the money it's giving, decrease it, or keep it as it is, which is about 0.4% of EU money. The results are that majority voted for keeping the amount of money given the same.
I would like to ask, if this is 2015, the year for development, shouldn't we try to focus on Europe developing the countries here instead of going out and helping other countries? I see that it's a good thing to do, but shouldn't we also look in and see, can we develop within the borders of EU?
That's a good point, but if you compare the level of development of EU countries and non-EU countries, there is a great difference. And of course, EU is helping its countries also, but it's helping in another way, because differences between EU countries are not so big as when you take the non-EU countries are really differently developed from the EU countries. So there are also projects that help EU countries, but this one is basically focused on non-EU countries.
Our group definitely agreed that education is without doubt the most important thing for the future of Europe, and mainly political education. I mean, we're all here today and we're very fortunate to be taking part and having our voices heard in front of the whole of the nation of Europe. But many people are not aware of the European Union and the good work it does. So we believe we should definitely ensure that lessons take place in primary schools, informing young people about political ideas and what the EU does. And we need to have more inter-EU collaboration, such as trips between schools with different countries, and teach the history of the EU so we never make the same mistakes again. We need to make sure that we increase participation from voters, not only in young people but in adults as well. So we believe that MEPs should definitely increase engagement with their countries and the people they represent, be that through the media or social media.
You talked about increasing the participation of voters all around the European Union. How do you plan on doing that? Because to market participation of voting, you need to have money. You need to have people who deal with social media on a daily basis. So you need to have a budget. It should come from the governmental area, because the European Union can't deal with inner politics, can't deal with politics of a country. So my question is, where would the money for the marketing come from? Thank you.
Well, obviously social media is free and you will need people to get onto the social media, but MEPs are here to reflect your opinion, so they should be doing it anyway and using their own willpower to do it. But also, I mean, campaigns aren't that expensive. Like, a lot of money goes into things that cost a lot more than posters and things like that, but perhaps just like lessons in schools so people are aware of the EU, because if you're not aware of it, you're not going to vote. And in the UK, there was only 20% turnout because nobody was aware of what was actually happening and who was who. So I think people really need to work on putting a name to a face with the MEPs in particular, and that's mainly their job really, but I don't really know where they would get the money from, but it's the same with anything. Where do you get the money for anything?
The European Union, with the help of media, have to familiarize other members with what is happening across Europe. So we learn what is going on in Europe, become more aware of what the European Union does, and in particularly as citizens, we have to know what is happening worldwide, such as wars, economic crises, etc. Each one of us have to create and develop our critical thought, and by that I mean that we should not believe everything that is said by media, but we also have to search for the truth. If we don't do this, we will be manipulated and our beliefs will be fade. A way to fight all those problems is to communicate with each other and with the help of media to promote the interest between people. It is correct that we cannot dictate media, but we have the responsibility to find a way to, as I said before, fight those issues. Some of those are creating campaigns as active citizenships with whom we will raise funds or to convince others to join our work. With the raise of funds, we can also advertise all those subjects that affect humanity and try to get over them united. Also, TV channels can show more about people's problems so they can activate civilization in a much more positive meaning. As Jesse Scott said, people are sheep, TV is a shepherd.
You mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, that TV has a great influence and that the EU should use it as an advantage, right? But if politicians use media for their advantage, isn't that wrong? Media should be completely independent. And you just said that TV doesn't show us all that happens. And what do you think? Why does that happen? Because they're influenced by politicians.
Media should not be manipulated by the government. They have to work properly, and they have to work in advantage of their people.
Yeah, but how would EU use it as an advantage? I don't know, what did you mean by that?
By the past of years, EU have showed meetings that are happening in here or in Brussels, in YouTube, Facebook. So if you do want to learn something, and you have to search there are ways, unless you want to do this.
So you think that all the politicians, including those in the European Union, want us to know all the things that happen in political world?
No, there are things that they want to hide from us because they want to fool us. So that's why we have to search more than one article, more than one thing, source to believe what we are said.
My colleague said about the American dream. The Americans, have the dream of work hard to achieve your goal. And I think Europe should have a dream, but not with that goal. The goal is to be all together, like to be European, to accept the immigrants not as a country, but as a EU. I mean, when you welcome immigrants, it doesn't mean that, for example, Italy is accepting the immigrants. It's the EU. And how can it be done? Well, there is the resettlement program of refugees. And I think that it should be taken into consideration, because when some countries are overcrowded and they haven't enough funds to help these people live in a humane way, they're living actually as they were living in their country. So it's better that powerful countries or countries who have less immigrants to welcome these immigrants.
Making immigration easier is linked to terrorism. Opening your borders to immigrants is also opening your borders to danger. How to control the flow and the danger in immigration?
I believe if the EU and all the EU countries take the right measures, I think that is the only thing that it will be able to be done. And even, of course, the people should be more aware. But on the other hand, if we just close because the borders or be like restricted, like this number only I will accept in my country, and the other ones I don't care. Then you would think that maybe from those 500 and one is a terrorist, I will have to leave 500 to die, maybe in the sea because of one terrorist or one drug trafficker. I mean, yes, it's unfair, but I think if it's more strict, this terrorism will be lessened. And I think we should try to lessen the thing of terrorism, linking terrorism with immigration, because unfortunately many people who are Muslims or coming from Muslim countries, they are going quite through a rough time.
We want to create some more programs which encourage and give knowledge about setting up companies. The second point is setting up or increasing the number of vocational schools. We see that studying in a vocational school is more helpful for getting a job after graduating or during studies. Also, we see that EU member states should create more vocational schools or where they are needed. We know that in some countries there is a problem that vocational schools have a really bad reputation, but if we create more schools and we actively show that vocational schools are okay and they are normal, then we could get a better reputation, and by that we could decrease the unemployment rate. We want more cooperation between employees and schools so that schools could make their educational systems more suitable for the job market. Studies have shown that at the moment people who graduate from, let's say, university or high school, they don't have the right skills that employees are looking for. But if we increase the cooperation, then we could have better impacts.
Do you think it's necessary to give young people complete freedom in the job market and give them whatever qualifications they want? Or do you think we should be aiming young people towards sectors that that Europe happens to be in need of at the time? Thank you.
We see that young people are most efficient when they study what they want, and we think that would be the best solution for everyone, and we could have a better quality that works, and so on.